What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're doing another review, which means another dopamine high. And today we're taking a look at Star Wars The Black Series Sev, another Republic Commando boy. And if you couldn't tell from my boss video, I really love this game and I really love Delta Squad, so I'm very happy to be reviewing another Commando. And the weird thing is that Fixer was announced before Sev, but somehow Sev released first. I don't know why, but here we are, we have Sev, and I'm not going to complain because Sev is probably one of my favorite members out of Delta Squad. So with that being said, before we get into the review, we got to get into some nice lore and explanation about our boy. So going into Sev's lore, or going by his identification number RC-1207, he served in the Grand Army of the Republic as a Republic Commando, and he served under Delta Squad as a marksman. Sev's first appearance would be in the Republic Commando video game, and unfortunately, due to Disney buying Star Wars, the Republic Commando video game is deemed Legends, so the only canon appearance that we have of Sev is that one episode of Clone Wars. We know that we see Scorch in the Bad Batch, so the Republic Commandos are still around. We don't know the fates of Sev, Fixer, or Boss, but we know Scorch is still kicking. But there are many other appearances Sev has made, but unfortunately, just like the Republic Commando video game, these appearances are Legends. After the Republic Commando video game, all appearances made by Sev were in the novel, starting off with Republic Commando 000, Republic Commando True Colors, Order 66, a Republic Commando novel, and he was mentioned in Imperial Commando 501st. And fun fact, Sev actually would have made an appearance in the Republic Commando 2 video game that was unfortunately scrapped. The plot of the game was going to be you, Fixer, and Scorch are all Imperial Commandos, and you find out the rebels are being trained by Sev, who did survive. So I thought that's kind of a cool idea. I'm ashamed that the game got scrapped because I love Republic Commando. It's my favorite Star Wars video game. And yeah, so that is pretty much everything we know about Sev, and hopefully we can see him in Bad Batch Season 2, or if we can get a Republic Commando Delta Squad show, who knows. So with all that said, let's jump right into the review. So finally getting to the figure, just looking at Sev through the box, everything looks like it's there, everything is looking promising. So we have the art on the side, of course the art on the back with a brief description about Sev. So just everything so far is looking promising. So opening up his box and just first impressions based off visuals, this figure looks promising and I can't wait to get into it. So with all that said, let's get right into it. So diving into articulation, obviously starting at the head region, he can rotate his head 360 degrees. He can look up and down and tilt his head side to side, so very good head articulation. Mind you, this is the same sculpt as Hunter, and the Hunter articulation is really good. So getting to the arms, he can turn and rotate his arms 360 degrees, bring them up all the way, good range of motion at the shoulders. Then getting to the elbow, he can bring his forearm up a good amount, and that's always a good sign, meaning he can hold stuff a lot better. And then getting to the hands, it is the simple rotate 360 degrees and bend the wrist pretty much however you want. So good stuff to see there within the arms. Getting to the torso, our boy has really good torso articulation. He can bend back and forth, rotate 360, pretty much move his torso all around however you want. Really good stuff there in the torso region of the figure. And then moving down to the legs, he can do about 95% of a split. Then you can have him rotate his legs 360 degrees, which is always really good to see. And you can bring both of his legs up if you really want him to sit down in a chair or something, but it also just shows that he can bring his leg up a good amount, so you can have him kneel and just other poses like that. And then moving to the knees, you can have him kind of do a butt kick. You have to bend the knee and then bring the rest of the leg up to achieve that butt kick, or almost that butt kick. And then you can rotate his thigh if you wanted to, and then bringing it down to the calf, you can have him rotate his calf as well. So there's a lot of bending and articulation in the legs for just different poses for different environments. And then of course his feet, you can put back and forth and rotate 360 degrees for balancing and just other posing purposes. So overall, very happy with the amount of articulation or range of motion that Sev has. Granted, this is based off of the Hunter figure, and the Hunter figure just has absolute slamming articulation, some of the best articulation we've seen throughout the entire Black series. So yeah, very good articulation. So moving on to accessories, starting off with this backpack, it's just simply plug it in and it stays. It doesn't feel loose or, you know, stuck. It just kind of sits in there securely. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall out. Very good, very cool. And for our second and final accessory, we do have Sev's DC-17M, and it does come with the sniper attachment, catering to how he is the marksman of the group, which I really like. You know, Hasbro could have just been lazy and given us a normal DC-17M, but they decided to go the extra mile and sculpt one with the sniper attachment, which is really nice to see, and I think it looks good when it comes to the sculpt. And the paint job, it's just plain black. They didn't add any of the silver weathering that we kind of see throughout the game, but that's the game just with its gritty and dark art style. So overall, I do think the DC-17M does look fine when it comes to the painting and sculpting. Where I start to get nitpicky with it is I wish that the scope was blue, or well, the holographic scope was blue, because in game, you know, the scope isn't like this long cylinder like most sniper scopes are. It's actually holographics, and I feel like Hasbro could have just added a little, you know, blue blop on those little black nubs where the scope is on the blaster, just to show that the scope is holographic, because that's what it is. And then my other nitpick is the size of the DC-17M. Now, it's not with this one specifically, it's all the ones that we've gotten from Hasbro so far. If you saw my boss review, I do have a custom 3D printed DC-17M, and I do think that it's more accurate, or it feels a lot better in the figure's arms. I just like the size of it. It's a little bit bigger, and I'm just happy with how it looks. It looks much more aggressive as well, with it being much bigger. And I kind of wish that Hasbro would take a note out of Jazzware's book and just kind of increase the size of the DC-17M, because what I mean by that is Jazzware's been increasing the size of all their weapons in the Halo line, but I just kind of wish, you know, Hasbro would do that just for the DC-17M. I think their weapon scaling overall is fine. It's just the DC-17M just feels very small in my opinion. But overall, like I said, I think visually the execution is well with the painting and sculpting. Just those two little nitpicks I thought I'd throw in there. So overall, good execution. And before we move on to the turntable segment of the video, I want to go over some size comparisons, because those are always fun to do. Well, not really a size comparison, but here is Sev next to Boss, just to have them next to each other to have that cool visual. And I do have a review of Boss up on the channel, so if you didn't see that, go check that out after this. Then we have June from Jazzware's Halo the Spartan collection. I do have a video up on the channel for the Wave 4 review, the wave he came in. Then we have Jazzware's World of Halo, Halo Infinite Master Chief. Then we have NECA's Big Chap Alien, who towers over Sev, and there is a video up on the channel reviewing this guy as well. Then we have NECA's Alpha Predator, who also towers over Sev, and just like Big Chap, there is a video on the channel reviewing him as well. Then we have Bandai's High Grade Zaku Sniper, and just like everyone else I've pretty much mentioned, there is a review for him on the channel as well. And finally, we have McFarlane's Doomslayer, which surprisingly I have no review of on the channel. Granted, this guy came out long before the channel was even doing toy review stuff. So with accessories and size comparisons over, here we are at the turntable segment in the video where I go over what I like, dislike, stuff like that, and just, you know, create a discussion so y'all can go down below and grow off of that. So going over what I dislike first, because I like to get that sour stuff out of the way, and there's actually not much I dislike. There's not even really anything I do dislike. Everything that I quote unquote dislike is more nitpicking, and that just goes back to the blaster being how I wish it was a little bit bigger, and I kind of wish they just added a little bit of blue to the sniper scope or the holographic sights on the blaster. After that, I think that this is a solid looking figure. Granted, if I had to nitpick anything else, it's kind of the paint job, and not that the paint job is bad. Like, the colors are accurate, the markings are accurate. I just kind of wish they made him look a lot more dirty and grittier. Granted, the Republic Commando video game art style is very dark and gritty from the get-go. There's nothing clean in that game. It's all just dark and gritty, and that's probably another reason why I really like that game. But it just seems like his armor is a little too clean for my liking. It feels like he could be a lot dirtier and grittier, and especially because he's a sniper, he's got to crawl up into a lot of areas to get some perfect shots. You know, he's got to, like, you know, ghillie himself up probably sometimes. I don't know, but I just kind of wish his armor was a little bit grittier and just, you know, messier. But after that, like I said, I think the articulation on this guy is fine and all that, but, you know, let's save that for what I do like about this figure. But overall, yeah, just the things that I quote-unquote dislike are just me being nitpicky with wishing that the blaster was bigger, wish they added some blue to the holographic sights on the blaster, and I just kind of wish that his armor was just a little dirtier and grittier. So diving into what I actually do like about this figure, and like I kind of mentioned before actually getting into this part of the video, I really like his articulation. Now the Sev figure uses the Hunter body and slash mold, so basically the articulation for Hunter was really good, so any figure that uses his mold, so any other clone Commando, will have that same articulation, and it's there. It looks and feels really good. He can move his head, torso, arms, legs really well. Just a really big range of motion when it comes to any part of his body, which is awesome to see because that means the potential poses are endless, and that's just something I like to see on a figure, and I hope that we can see this kind of type of articulation on other Black Series figures coming forward. Not saying that Black Series does a bad job at articulation, but seeing the amount of articulation this figure has makes you wish that every Black Series figure had this kind of articulation, because not all Star Wars figures are created equally, unfortunately. And then getting into what the second thing I do like about this figure, and I know I was being nitpicky with wishing his armor was dirtier and grittier, but I think the paint job or like all the markings on his armor are fine. They're pretty accurate to what we see in game. They're all there. It just, his armor looks really clean, and I really enjoy that dark gritty art style of the game. So that's the only reason I'm being nitpicky about how I think it should be a lot grittier and messier. But who knows, maybe this is Sev before he got into the thick of it with Delta Squad, before he got all gillied up or whatever he needed to do for a mission. This is just him in clean armor with his markings. Who knows? But overall, I think that, you know, besides wishing that the armor was darker or grittier, you know, well, when I say darker, I mean dirtier, I think that the figure looks fine. So overall, besides a few nitpicks, I do think that this is a good feeling and looking figure. I do recommend this to anyone who avidly collects Star Wars The Black Series figures, or if you're picky and you don't got a lot of space for figures and you just collect ones that only really catch your eye, I would say this is one of those figures that you just have to get because of how cool he looks. Even if you're not trying to get the entirety of Delta Squad, Sev is arguably the best or coolest looking Commando out of the entire squad. So if you're going to choose any of the Commandos, I would go with Sev, me personally. So yeah, do I recommend this figure? Absolutely. And with all that said, let's move on to the outro of the video. So if you did enjoy this video, a like and a subscription would be awesome. You don't have to comment because that's a lot of effort, so I get it. I'm a lazy bastard myself. But if you do want to create discussion about this figure, tell me what you like, dislike, stuff like that. You're more than welcome to go down there and just, you know, spill your heart out. I will most likely respond because I like talking about this stuff just as much as you do. And don't worry about that bell. That shit is broken. We already know it, so don't worry. And if you like more stuff like this, I have other reviews on the channel. I do other Star Wars stuff like the Star Wars Legos, and I have one Star Wars model kit video. I do review Halo figures, NECA figures, and you know, every now and then I'll throw in something a little bit different, spice it up. But overall, if you enjoyed the video, like I said, like and a subscription would be awesome, and I will see you later.